All right, here we go. Okay, so welcome to another episode of Tactical Tuesdays. My name is Arman Vakili. This is the business plug. And last Tuesday, we talked about the different revenue streams or different categories of revenue streams that you can tap into pretty quickly, flip culture, or everything else that we talked about. I can't recall right now. But this episode, we're going to be talking about one of the philosophies that I think is pretty important for every business owner to know. You've probably heard of this. If you are familiar with it, hopefully I can talk about it in a way that maybe some new insights are offered to you. If you're not familiar with it, hopefully you can get some real value from this. But the concept is either a sales funnel or a sales pipeline. And what is really important to understand that this exists with every business. Doesn't matter what you're selling, products, or it really doesn't matter. And the sophistication of your pipeline or your funnel ends up making a difference with your long-term revenue model and just how much revenue can be generated from the initial surge of traffic that comes into your funnel. And I will talk about that a little bit. But to me, they represent pretty much the same thing. The pipeline and the funnel pretty much represent the same process. Let me see if I can start drawing it on here for you guys. And so if we were to say that this is, we'll go here, let's see. If this is our funnel, right? Stuff comes in from the top, stuff comes in out of the bottom, and ideally that would be money. And if this was our pipeline, then again, stuff would go in from this side, and then you would have things come out from the other side. And in this example, it would be traffic would be going in, customers would be coming out, right? So traffic or exposure or contact, whatever it may be. Now, the reason I like this model specifically a little bit better is because it's a visual representation of the actual process. Meaning what? So if your first level of things right here are your visitors to your site. Now, ideally, your site, the link that you wanted to send them to is your money page. And your money page could be either your lead capture page or it could be an actual sales page, right? But the lead capture would be the first conversion that you're trying to get. This surge of traffic, this large surge of traffic that's coming from the top, that's the first thing that you want. Now, what may happen is that you could have 100 people, right, that visit the lead capture page or the sales page. And obviously, if it's a sales page, your conversion ratio is going to be lower because you're asking for money from people. Lead capture pages, typically you're offering some kind of value in exchange for their contact information. So it's a little bit higher of a conversion ratio, and it's a better way to obviously follow up with people. Because if the first thing that happens when they see your business is an offer for money, like buying something from you, and in that moment, for whatever reason, they're not in the buying mood, you don't want to lose on that visitor because they were initially interested. That's why they even came to your website. So what's going to happen is that, and I'm looking at this way, what's going to happen is that you're going to lose out on that person. That person is not going to come back anymore, and you could have resold to them or remarketed to them. So it's easier to ask for, hey, why don't you drop your email and then we'll give you 10% off. And it depends on the model that you're in, depends on what you're selling. So this specific offer may not apply to you, but whatever it is, you're offering something up front. Get this free ebook, we'll give you a certain percentage off, access to a product to sample, etc., etc. So that conversion will end up being something like, let's say, depending on how well you do, 10 to 30%. And I'm kind of like overlapping my pipeline here, but you guys hopefully will make sense. You'll understand it. So 10 to 30% will be the conversion of your lead capture page. Some people it'll be less, some people it'll be more. It depends on what your market is, depends on the competition, depends on your offer, right? But you get around, let's say, 10 to 30% of people who will opt in, meaning what? 30 people will end up going to this level, whatever this level is for you. 30 people will actually be visiting this page. And out of these 30 people, let's say this is a sales page and you're trying to ask them to buy something very small. We call it a self-liquidating offer. A lot of people also call it this. And what it means is that whatever the cost was to get these 100 people in the door, the cost of this self-liquidating offer is to offset that cost. So at least, or the profits or the sales, the revenue generated from the self-liquidating offer is to offset the cost of acquiring these 100 visitors. So ideally, you'll at least break even, but maybe in a great situation, you might make a couple of bucks on your self-liquidating offer. Whoever ends up on this level, and this is from here on, it's essentially upsells. Everything else is an upsell. You get the person in the door. Once they're in the door, how do you capture their information so that they're in your system so you can follow up with them through autoresponders and AI and stuff like that? Then once they're in your system, what is that initial offering that you can make them that will offset the cost of them entering the door? And then once they're in the buying mood, and this is what's great about this, is that if you're a crappy salesperson, so long as you just even make the offer, or if you do a crappy job of developing your sales page, it doesn't matter like if your website isn't like the best website or whatever. If you're just making an upsell offer to somebody who just bought something from you, 20% of those people, 20% of people are buyers. So literally just because you offered it to them, they'll be like, all right, I'll probably take this. So 20% of your people are already in the buying mood. Their credit card's already out. They just press something, either it's add to cart and they're in their cart, and then they see something that says recommended products. That's why it works. Or they go to McDonald's, they buy a burger, and then they say, do you want fries with that? That's why that works. So same thing applies to you. If they came in and bought your book, and then your upsell is your home study course, or your upsell is your personal consulting services, or if they came into your body shop and they came in specifically because they wanted to get their oil changed, but you can try to figure out a way that you can maybe upsell a carburetor change. I'm not that great with cars, so excuse me for that horrible example, but I think you get what I'm saying, though. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So that's the idea here, right? That's exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. So 20% of people are buyers. So no matter what, if you just make the offer, then 20% are likely to just say yes to you. Now, depending on how well you make the offer, depending on the quality offer, etc., it'll be higher than 20% or 30%. And this is all profit. By the time that it's here, this is all profit to you. So the optimization of this part of your funnel is really, really important. But it's like, how do you get people in the door first? So for a lot of people, that's what they're trying to figure out, is how do I get people in the door? And a really easy way is just put up some advertising, pay-per-click, context advertising. You can go through Facebook, you could go through Google search, you could go through so many different places to generate traffic, but you can also create content on Instagram. You can create content on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube. You can create content and put your link to your website in the description, very similar to what you're seeing with this video, right? There's going to be a link in the description of our videos. And so that content will generate passive traffic for you. And it's not as instantaneous as advertising is, because advertising, you turn on the switch, like you press on literally, and the traffic just starts flowing in. And if you can actually figure out how to break even on your advertising cost in this manner, and everything else will end up becoming profit for you after your SLO, then what happens is that you've like created this automated profit generation machine. They call it the automated slot machine, right? For every $20 I put in, I make 25. And so it's like, how fast can I put in $20? So same thing when it comes down to your funnel, whatever your funnel looks like, and your advertising cost of generating that traffic to come in the store, or to come on your website, or to come on your app, whatever that may be. If it's free though, so if the traffic, the 100 visitors, if they're free, if they came in through passive traffic that's from content and YouTube and stuff like that, then starting from your SLO, it's all profit margin. So everything that happens initially, literally, because it's free traffic, right? So this is the idea of the funnel and the idea of the pipeline. And the pipeline literally is the same thing. Like this would be the first layer, which is represented by this. So this might be the lead capture. This would be the SLO. This would be upsell 1, upsell 2, upsell 2, and etc. Right? But I don't like the visual representation of this because it doesn't represent these numbers right here. Because 100 people come in, and let's say 30 people go to step 2, and then from this 30 people, let's say 10% of these people buy, which would be 3 people. And so 3 people actually go to your upsell page, and 0.75 people, I guess, will end up buying your upsell if you just make that offer. So all we have to do really is just double this up, and then this would end up being 60, and this would end up being 6, and it would be like 1 person out of every 6, or 1 person out of every 5, literally, because you could say it's 20%. So 1 person out of every 5 would end up buying your upsell. So that's what the process looks like. Now, the key here is figuring out how this applies to you specifically. And if you don't even have a product, how do you get the best-selling product or service? How do you get something that has a really big industry that you can make a lot of money in? There's obviously competition, but that's like that with any good industry. Elon Musk had a lot of competition when he went into the car business, and he ended up doing it as an electronic vehicle as well. So he was working extra steep uphill. So it's possible to make it happen. It just depends on your ability to create those offers, your ability to actually cater to your market and have those conversations with them so that they'll feel like they're getting value from you and actually believe it once they see the results as well, right? Because depending on what it is, this applies to literally everything. It applies to food, it applies to services, it applies to products and sales, software sales. It applies to content marketers and people who want to sell products through their merchandising and things like that. It's like you could be a YouTuber and this would still apply to you, because you need to figure out what your self-liquidating offer is going to be after people subscribe to your channel. So it's like, what is the step after subscription? Even if it's advertising revenue generated just from YouTube, you still need something after that, because that would be still self-liquidating in my opinion. You still need the upsell after that. And that's why you see a lot of people developing their own merchandise or partnering with brands and becoming, equity partners with them. So it really all depends on your specific model. And if you're open to talking about it, or if you have any questions about it, my emails are always open, my DMs are always open. You can find all my socials below, and you can obviously go to my website and request some information there as well. So other than that, this was the concept of the funnel or the pipeline, and let's just write it here. Funnel, and then let's change the color so we're fancy, and then we'll do pipeline. And just to give you a little hack of why I'm doing this is, instead of trying to develop this really, elaborate thumbnail image, I'm just gonna spruce this up a little bit and take a screenshot afterwards so that, there we go. We're gonna take a screenshot so that we actually have something for YouTube thumbnail and for Facebook thumbnail. All right, guys, so I hope that you enjoyed this. Ooh, this is a big nose. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. I hope that you enjoyed everything that we talked about, and hopefully there was value in it for you guys. And if there is anything that I can do for you, please let me know. My @ is officially, this is cool, I like this, officially Arman on all socials. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Clubhouse, all that stuff. So thanks for hanging out, guys. I hope this was valuable to you. Let me know if you have any questions. You can drop it in the comments below or just DM me, and we will chat soon. I am going to now go over to the other side right here, and we're going to end the recording. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Later.